And
one, no, okay. I have one more question about this, about budgeting, actually. Like in the last 2 weeks, I had a couple of conversations with some prospects, and whenever, of course, like sooner or later, when you talk, you need to talk about price.
It should be sooner. Should be at the very beginning.
Yeah. But like none of them, like 0% of them were willing to share this information with me. Like they were like always like not one sort, like one way or the other was like, no, I'm not going to tell you, you tell me. Like, how much are you charging for? So yeah, okay, how much I can charge it for? Like I can do it for like 1,000 to 12,000 euros, you know. So what's your budget? Oh no, what how much is this going to cost? Like, but what's your budget?
Yeah.
Like
classic.
All of them, like,
battle,
yeah. So how do you approach this kind of a person that is like, that is kind of just like holding ground, you know, that doesn't want to budge, you know?
Yeah, it's again, 90% of this comes from how your mindset, like how you look at it. Because again, you can have the goal, like, okay, I need to hear their budget. I need to figure out like how much they're willing to spend. And then this is, you know, your main intent. This is how you ask the questions. And then like, it also comes across this way, like, oh yeah, I just need to hear the budget. And then from their side, naturally, like some people do it just out of their, like, because of their ego, like, oh yeah, I'm not going to share anything. You tell me, like you approach me, like you are selling the video production. So you tell me. So that could be one reason. You're just completely just egoistical, or it could be that they don't even actively know. Maybe they don't really know, like, you know, what the budget is. And then kind of going against them, it would be this battle, you know, like you and them, and against like, okay, who's going to share the first, like, you know, who's the biggest boss, which again, doesn't get you anywhere, right? Like it only feels, it's more energy draining. It doesn't feel good. And then you don't help anybody, right? You always should look at like how to create win-win situations. So you always should have this collaborative frame, right? Like you imagine them as a kid, you know, like a small kid on the like running around and like not really knowing what to do. And then you kind of like take the kid, you show them around, like, okay, so what are you looking for? Like, you know, what do you want to do at the moment? Do you want to go to this swing, or you want to play in the sand, or whatever? You know, you show them around, and you're leading conversation, but in a way that they also feel good about it. You know, like they just follow, and as long as it makes sense for them, they just follow, and there's absolutely no resistance. And you lead them, you guide them towards a common goal that is in your like both best interest. So what this looks like, and again, like this also naturally then flows into the questions that you ask, or how you lead the conversation, or the tonality even. Like I had so many calls where, for example, my team members, like when I train them, like they're far from perfect, and they say the same things because they have a script, but the way they say that, like for them, the call isn't successful. And then I do a similar call, and for me it is. And it's really just about the tonality, for example, or the intent, or maybe like bring in some humor, you know, or like whatever, kind of like, you know, getting also this emotional vibe of like what's happening in the conversation. But then when they tell you, like, no, you tell us we don't have the budget. And you can, first of all, address that already. Again, a question, like the best way to answer anything is with a question. And you ask them, so is it the fact that you really don't know the budget, like you don't have a budget specifically because you never thought about it before? Or is it that you just don't want to share it with me? Because we just acted like we don't have too much trust. So I would also totally understand if it's the second case. Which one is it? And now, like if it's the second one, then they most likely going to, like, you know, laugh, and like the atmosphere lightens up, because that was the elephant in the room, you know. Now you call it out, and then like, yeah, I mean, true, like we are on a call, like you just reached out to me on LinkedIn, I don't know who you are, like I don't see a reason why I would be sharing my budget with you. And now like, okay, cool. And now you address that problem. Now you like give them more trust, or like you actually tell them, or whatever, right? Or it could be that they don't have the budget, that they don't know the budget, and that's a completely different issue, you know, which is not even an issue, like that's a completely different thing. So then you address that. And yeah, that's really one way to like really understand why they're asking, like where they're coming from, or why they're not telling you. But then the second thing could be is that, yeah, I mean, the budget is very hard to talk about it because I work with range of clients, and obviously each individual product is also different. So it could be starting at 1,000 and goes all the way to 15,000. So let's look at what you would be looking for and what would actually make sense for you. And now you take this collaborative frame, like, hey, let's look at all the possibilities. Let's look at what we're trying to achieve here and see what's the best way to get there. Like what actually makes the most sense, you know? And now they feel like you want to help them. You're not going against them. You're actually supporting them. And you are just like, you have a pleasant conversation that makes sense, you know, that is like progressing, that they feel like you are leading well. And that's really how you solve that. I mean, this is quite complex, but hopefully it makes at least a little bit sense.
It does.